Thank you so much for joining us tonight in our new space. We're so excited to have you here. I'm going to start with a land acknowledgement. We want to begin by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe people. As we come together today, we honor the First Nations people who stewarded this land before us. In Indigenous culture, homelessness is not only defined as a lack of a structure for habitation, it is more fully described and understood to include individuals, families, and communities isolated from their relationships to land, water, place, family, kin, each other, animals, cultures, languages, and identities. I'm sharing this because it gets to the heart of what we always aim to achieve with our projects here at Redwood. It is our hope that the families who live in our projects, in our buildings, that they find it not just to be a structure for habitation, but a home where they can reconnect with themselves and each other, where relationships are formed and strengthened, and where cycles of homelessness, in the fullest sense of the word, are broken. And I'm going to invite Nathan, who is our board chair.
Don't often get a chance to speak at these things, which is by my design. And thought I better say that in case people thought it was their fault. So it's a great opportunity. I want to thank all of you for coming, and for those of you who are able to join us online. It's a great opportunity to get together and to talk a little bit about what Redwood has been up to, not just in the past year, but really it is a celebration, I think, of what Redwood has done over sort of 10 years. And it has got kind of crazy from 10 years ago, or I suppose 11 years ago, when Tim and I met in my office in our old church building and started talking about this crazy idea. And so I'm looking forward tonight to being able to share, for you to be able to see and hear about some of the things that are going on currently at Redwood, and then also to begin to look and see what is coming up at Redwood as well. So we're pretty excited about that. Also, for those of you who are joining us online with the live stream, we are in our wonderful new warehouse facility that for the Furniture Bank, and our Redwood head office, which unfortunately has the worst internet in the world. So if I keep cutting out, perhaps if you pause it for just a second and let it buffer a little bit, it won't be quite so bad. Sorry about that. Please write your city councilors, and we'll see if we can't get better internet in this corner of the world. Anyway, so I'm not sure who comes up next, but is it you? Sure. But I'm going to hand things over to our executive director, Tim, and Rhonda.
Whew. Oh, I need glasses now. Take off the mask, get some glasses. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It's been a long few months since we've been able to sort of meet in person, so we're really grateful that we're able to do this. It's a much smaller crowd than what we would maybe normally have, but hopefully some of those restrictions will begin to lift a little bit, and we can meet more and more in person. I was talking to Nathan the other day, and I said, what are we gonna talk about for an hour? How are we gonna fill an hour of space? And he said, Tim, come on, man. It takes you an hour to say hello sometimes. So anyways, hello. And I think that was maybe 30 seconds, so there. I just wanted to, I see everyone seating, so that's good. If anybody who works for Redwood or is on the board could just stand up so people can see who you are, that would be great. So it's hard to make all kinds of introductions, but Jeanette and Amanda and Nathan that you met, and Kent, who refuses to stand up in the back, he's on our facilities team. Oh yes, Tom. Well, I'm trying to look and see where everybody is, so it's hard. And Jennifer and Angelique back there. Thank you. And I know Tandy was around too, but she organized the food and the treats and stuff back there, and Jennifer organized the whole evening, and so I really appreciate the team and everybody that works so hard every day to do what we do out in the community. So thank you. So many of our team is not here because we wanted to save as much room as possible for those in the community that wanted to be able to attend. And I'm really grateful that Nathan was able to set us up to live stream so that people that weren't able to attend in person are able to tune in and actually see the recording later as well, which is fantastic. Whoa, don't want to drop that. So thank you everybody for being here. I just want to say, and then I'll stop talking. Okay, Nathan. That our goal in the community, really, our mission is to develop and create safe, affordable, hopeful housing and wrap that in supportive community. And the supports that the families and individuals that we're working with really need and ask for and want. And sometimes that takes us in crazy directions, and we'll talk about some of those things. But whenever we see a need and there isn't somebody else doing that, we look at how we can fulfill that need to help support and strengthen the families that we're working with. And that really is what pushes Redwood forward and what motivates Redwood to keep going every day. And it's seeing our what we think of as our heroes out there in the community that are carrying huge burdens every day and having the courage to get up every day and say this is going to be a better day. And that inspires me deeply. And so I thank you for anybody out in the community that we're working with and that struggles every day. Thank you so much for being who you are and never giving up. And so anyway, sorry, I'm going to get off track here. Nathan was right about talking. I'm going to ask Rhonda to come now so that I can stop talking and just talk to you a little bit about our supportive community and our housing and why supportive community is so important to us.
Thanks. When we first built United House all those years ago, there were originally going to be 6 units of housing. And when it went to the city in the pre-planning, they told us that we had to keep a commercial space and we had to have some offices there or something along those lines. And we were so worried, like, oh no, we've lost an apartment. We were going to have 6 apartments and now we're going to only have 5. And then we started to hang out a little bit in that office in the living room, and we started to notice how much the folks who had moved into those units were coming into the living room, having some coffee, some tea, connecting, and what a difference that community made. And we realized that at the core of everything that we would do moving forward, the first step, you can read it on our shirts, but first housing, but then wrapping those units of housing in support and all the things that help someone stay housed. When you're spending every day just thinking about where you're going to sleep or what you're going to eat, you don't have a lot of time, how you're going to be safe. You don't have a lot of time to think of those other things, but once those basic needs are met, then the next thing is to figure out what is the next step, and that happens amazingly over coffee. So at the core of all of our projects is that supportive community team, and we've been expanding that team so many times over the last few years. So we started out with a little group of volunteers, and then we added a peer-to-peer support team, and then we've brought on a housing coordinator and a supportive community coordinator. And so it's very exciting to see the supportive community that's happening in all those buildings. You will likely, if you get our update, you will read this story shortly, but one of my favorite stories from September, we have 5 teenagers at United House right now. 4 of them live in one apartment. And the first day of school, Mama came downstairs after the kids had left for school and her eyes were all red. And we were like, oh, is it so hard to send your kids off to school today? And she said, no, there's so much Axe in my apartment. Axe body spray, Axe shampoo. My eyes are burning. I needed to get them out the door and come downstairs. So when just the feeling at United House right now, we had a little baby who was going to be born at United House. Unfortunately, there were some complications and she couldn't have her home birth, but how beautiful if your transitional housing sorry, feels so much like home that your baby can be born there, you know? So we have everything from little babies being born to teenagers stinking up the hallways with their smelly body washes and body sprays. Lucy's Place is so exciting right now. We haven't seen some of you in person throughout basically most of Lucy's Place being open, so I'm sure you've read some of the stories as they come out. It's very exciting to see just folks coming back to themselves, having an opportunity to pursue the things that excite them, and just watching people developing. One of my favorite things is we're seeing folks at Lucy's Place developing their hobbies. Sleeping rough, maybe not a lot of time to think about your hobbies. And so we're just watching our folks and the exciting things that they're working at, gardening and woodworking and all of this. And then everybody working together to keep the property looking so beautiful. Our folks really take pride in their space and in keeping it looking beautiful. And then we've started, so our Lillian project, we'll get some updates later, but we aren't sharing one physical space yet, but we have started to work together with our team at the Salvation Army to start to develop that co-working strategy to all develop or to work through housing and supportive community together. So those are some of the exciting things that are happening in each of our units. And I'm just so thankful for thinking back to the days when it was actually just Erin and I in the living room. And now when I walk in, actually one day we had a fire alarm and no one else could get to the building to shut the fire system off. And I got there and I went and knocked on all the doors to make sure everyone was out. And the next day, the woman who I knocked on her apartment door said, yeah, some lady came to the door and told me that I had to get out. So now I'm some lady at United House. You know we've come a long way with our supportive community team if I'm just some lady, right? So, yeah, there you go. Sorry, so now we're gonna, you get to meet this amazing team, or some of this amazing team. That actually reminds me of one more thing I was gonna say. One of the things that we've realized just since Lucy's Place opened was how core to our supportive community team our property management folks are. So our maintenance and property management team are providing a good, Angelique, our housing coordinator, and then our property management team are providing all of the supportive community at Lucy's Place. So you'll get to meet some of them and a lot of our new staff. So we'll just watch this video about our staff.
Hi, I'm Jeannie. I'm here in the living room at United House. This is where connections are made and a lot of coffee is consumed. I've been part of the team here at Redwood since 2018. My official title is team lead for United House and Second Suites. My role here is to offer support and community to the women and children staying in our units, as well as overseeing and coordinating on-site supports for our families. One of the most fulfilling and unexpected parts of my job is when I see moms and their children being reunited who were previously separated due to lack of housing and support.
Hi, my name's Danielle, and I am the new Supportive Community Coordinator here at Redwood Park Communities. I'm excited to have joined the team, and my role here is to provide one-on-one counseling as well as group support to the women and children that are residing here at United House that have experienced intimate partner abuse. Another part of my role, which I'm excited about, is to holding groups for Redwood Park Communities staff, including myself. So I do believe that by cultivating a sense of belonging with ourselves, amongst our staffing team and amongst the staffing team of the organizations that we collaborate with, that by doing our own work, that we are more able to provide grounded and self-aware support to the folks that we are working with.
Hi, my name is Angelique Norlander. I'm the housing coordinator here at Redwood Park Communities, and I'm sitting here at Lucy's Place, a community space by the fire. The pandemic has been hard on everyone, but it's a lot easier to stay home when you have a home to stay home at. Our 18 units are all occupied by individuals that have experienced chronic homelessness. Since we've opened in 2019, we've had 35 individuals housed. We have so many great stories of resilience and community here at Lucy's Place. Our residents are able to reconnect with family members and continue to work and develop new hobbies. I would like to thank you for supporting Redwood Park Communities so that we can assist our community and our people to find safe, affordable, hopeful place to call home. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jeanette,
And I'm Tom.
and we are fundraising council for the Lillian Crescent Project, which is known as the Family Short-Term Supportive Housing Project. We're super excited because we've raised about $2.4 million of our capital campaign, and we'll be launching our $700,000 public phase very, very soon. Tom, how's construction going?
Well, as the project manager on this $4.5 million project, we're very excited that we have already gotten into the ground with site works. We're anticipating getting the foundation in this fall, and somewhere between 12 and 15 months from now, we should be open and ready for occupancy for all those families waiting for our assistance.
That's great. And Tom and Jeanette happen to be here with us tonight, so I might call on them later to do a little. They look terrified all of a sudden. Okay, maybe not. Anyways, moving on. I'll remove some stress for a little bit. This building that you came in here tonight and are sitting in right now is really a pretty cool thing. I don't know, when you drove in, and sorry for those that are sort of tuned in over the internet, but you won't be able to see this, but when you drove in, there was this massive warehouse in front of you. That the entire building is actually is actually ours. We don't own it, we're leasing it. But one of the things that's cool about this is we had a lot of support from the existing property owner to get this space ready for what we needed it for. And our intention with this space was so that we had somewhere for our furniture bank to be able to live and operate out of. We were kind of working out of a couple of storage units in a really small space out in Snow Valley, and it wasn't working out very well. We needed bigger space, so we got very, very large space now, and it was way more space than we needed. So what we've done is we've rented out pieces of the space, and we took some time to really consider what that would look like. And as Nathan mentioned earlier, our intention is that this will be sort of our home office, if you will, for staff to be able to collaborate and brainstorm for board meetings. And we're really hoping that it'll be a little bit of a community hub as well, where people in the community will come and enjoy the space as well, and maybe they'll hang out and work on their own things that are here. And we can also make the space available to community organizations that want a space to rent, don't need any sort of services. They just need some space to rent for an evening or a weekend or something like that. And we can make that space that is being used as office for that purpose. We have some thoughts and ideas about what all that could look like. So one of the things that we did to offset the cost of having this space, as I mentioned, is to rent some of that space out, but we wanted to be strategic about it. And so if you look over there, you'll see a glassed-in space all back in there. And that's actually new office space that belongs to Jeff's Junk, which is our logistics partner for the furniture bank. And they were looking for some space, and this worked out really well. And you can see the compound out there when you came in, where all the various trucks and bins and stuff are parked. And it's really improving our operations in terms of the furniture bank because we're all right here together, and we can deal with issues that arise. And then in the far end of the building, we have an organization called Northern Shield Developments, and they build container or modular homes out of sea containers. And it's really cool. It's cool that they're here, and they've got a real focus on affordable housing and different affordable housing projects. If you've ever been up into Aurelia, you will see one of the three story apartment buildings that they built there, and get a sense and feel for what they do. And I'll talk a little bit later about them too, because they're working on a project with Redwood right now as well. But we have some exciting ideas around how this space can be used, and and contribute to the outcomes of individuals that we're working with, aside from the furniture bank, and making some space available for the community. But we got some ideas around being able to do a little cafe, and you'll see where you got your coffee and your treats and stuff over there, and having a little cafe and being able to use it to do some employment training for individuals, and some other ideas about food rescue and food prep for families and individuals that are vulnerable that need well-prepared meals that they can cook at any time. So there's some really cool ideas and things going on with the space, and that's why we're here. That's how we managed to be here and cover the costs of being here and being able to have some of those ideas, but being able to rent out the space, excess space that we don't need. So I don't know if I've missed anything about that, but that's what's going on with the space.
Are you putting a check mark?
I'm
That's awesome.
checking that
Check.
off. I checked it.
Anna?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, where's the camera? Anna, if you're watching. So in order to make space for community members to come, we made videos with all of our staff. And Anna has a little video that's coming up. So Rhonda, who had a few too many things on her plate and didn't read the agenda till this afternoon, this morning said to Anna, "Oh, Anna, you don't have to be here tonight. You can watch it online." And then read the agenda. So right now, you just have to pretend, actually, she's pretty much the same size as me, and she wears just about the same shoes as me, but she has blonde hair. So you have to just pretend that I'm Anna right now, and I'm gonna give you Anna's update. Oh my goodness. So Anna was going to talk to you about the furniture bank and our operations here, and tell you a few stories. One of the exciting things that we've been able to do by moving here, after we're done, we may be able to take a peek back through, but one of the reasons for moving from the space we were into here is that as we come out of the pandemic, we'll be able to have folks who are getting furniture come right through the space. And right now, the way that the furniture bank works is that when you get a referral, you get a link to an online store, and you go to each section: couches, chairs, end tables, coffee tables. Each piece of furniture you pick from photos that are on the website. So right now already folks are picking their exact furniture, but they're seeing pictures of it. So one of the things that's been very exciting being here is that we've been able to have our first few families come and walk through. One of our families was a Syrian refugee family, and there were some language barriers to being able to use the online portal, and so they were actually able to walk through and pick their furniture in person. And for some folks without internet access or with other barriers, coming in has been a great opportunity. So that's been very exciting for us. And the other thing that's super exciting is that right now we've been able to serve families mostly in Barrie, but also in Bradford, Alliston, Wasaga Beach, Aurelia, and a little bit in Midland and Penetang. But that Midland-Penetang corridor is a little bit further away, and it's been a little bit more of a challenge. And so we are so excited because we've been able to partner with United Way and, oh dear. Yes, CLH, sorry. If I were Anna, I would not have forgotten that.
For those that are wondering, that stands for Community Living Huronia, but they go by CLH.
To expand our furniture bank operations up into Midland and Penetang. So we are super excited about this opportunity. And then there's long been this vision of Rolling Thunder, a semi that will travel all over Simcoe County, delivering furniture packages to people who need them. So this is super exciting because this is a little bit of our pilot project for how we can serve families in that area, and also how those organizations will be able to provide supports to us in upcycling of furniture and that sort of thing. So Anna's going to give an update shortly where she'll tell you all of the numbers, because that's what she's absolutely amazing at, and I'll leave that to her. But yeah, being in this space has meant that we've really been able to expand what we are able to do. And when we're finished, for those of you who are in person, we'll just take a little tour and you can see what's happening back there. And here's video 2.
Furniture Bank. Since January 2020, Furniture Bank has diverted over 42,000 square feet of furniture from landfill and put that into 159 households. So to put that into context, that's roughly 26 foot U-Haul trucks worth of furniture that's been used to make life better for 344 people. And then in addition to that, by keeping that furniture out of landfill, we've abated 150 tons of carbon emissions, which is roughly the equivalent of keeping 32 cars off the road for a year, and it saved the city over $188,000 in waste management costs.
Good evening. I'm Peter Kiesbrink. I'm the Director of Tangible Assets and Risk Management here at Redwood Park Communities. Our department takes care of both the facilities and maintenance end of upkeep and revitalizing our existing properties, as well as transforming and finding the best use for new properties. On the risk management side, I take care of the insurance program and liability management, as well as financial and investment management for the operation as we grow.
Our maintenance and facilities team is part of our community support team by getting to know each resident and providing practical support in a trauma-informed fashion.
Okay. 30, and I just have a few more things to say. So, you know, Nathan Barnes. Anyways, so now watch me go on and on about the few more things I have to say. What I would like to do right now is just kind of tell you a little bit about what's coming up and what we're working on now and into the near future. And one of the things, there are a couple of things that I can't really give you a lot of details on, but I can kind of give you a sense of what's happening because there are some elements of certain things that are still confidential for now. And then when they're no longer confidential, we'll be able to actually make some real announcements. But I wanted to be able to give you guys that came out today at least an update on a few things. And what I'll start with, and you saw it in the video with Tom and Jeanette and our Lillian Crescent project, and it's our family short-term housing project for families that have been living in the motel voucher program. And the reason that it's really important for us is that as you can imagine, if you're a mom and a dad and you've got children and you've lost your home for some reason, having to live in a motel for any extended period of time can be very, very challenging and could also start to break down and cause other problems within the family unit. And so being able to create a space that is full apartments for families that can go to in that crisis and have the opportunity to get their feet on the ground and start to think about what they want to do and what's next is a way more effective way for them to sort of be able to breathe and not get stressed out about being in a motel because their situation's bad enough as it is, and let's not compound it. And so that's the purpose of this program. We've partnered with the Salvation Army, the Bayside Mission here in Barrie, who is working with the families now through the shelter program, and with our supportive community team and facilities team. We actually have a few second suites that we do where some of those families are housed now, and we just feel that having a space that's dedicated to them, a big, huge community space with a common kitchen and fireplace as well on top of their own individual apartment kitchens, so that there can be a lot of social interaction and development of that community and activities for kids and all that kind of stuff is going to be way more supportive than trying to support families as they're living in a motel room. So that's the purpose of this. It's been It's been a long time coming. We've been working on this project for a while, and we've had a couple of instances where we've had some delays for different reasons, and some of them planned and some of them not planned. But back in the fall of last year, we were able to get all of the services on the ground and get ready to put the foundation in. We had an opportunity, we put a pause on it once that was done in the winter, just to avoid some of the winter construction. And we had an opportunity to apply for some extra funding through the CMHC with the Rapid Housing Initiative in the first round. And so we chose to do that, and that took up some time. We weren't successful in that. They felt that the project was better, because of how far along we were, was better suited for their national housing strategy, which we have applied for now and are very, very close, I believe, to having those approvals, which will allow us to get in the ground still this fall, even though the fall is pretty short. But we're feeling really confident that we'll be able to move forward and have this ready with families in it by this time next year, approximately, within a couple of months of that at least anyways. So that's our update on that project. We're really excited about it. We've raised quite a few dollars. Thank you to Tom and Jeanette for the hard work that they put in there. Our capital campaign co-chairs as well, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, Hellier Hansen and Angela Baldwin, have been fantastic in helping us make connections in the community. And we're really looking forward to working with the trades this fall and throughout the year to get this built. They're all going to be trades from the community who have a vested interest and a heart for their communities, and we look forward to working with them to get this project out of the ground and families living there. And we know that some of those trades, as in with our past projects like Lucy's Place, are going to come to the table in a big way to support it through material donations or financial cash donations as well. So we're thanking you guys, you trades out there, in advance of anything that you may want to come and commit into the project. So we're really excited and we're ready to go. That's our number one biggest priority right now, moving forward over the next month or so, is to get that going and in the ground and make sure that we've got a fantastically successful project there, which we know we will. So that's my update on Lillian Crescent. And the other thing that we're doing, so that's 12 units, and just so you know, altogether this year we're actually into the construction phase on 21 new housing units, and that's something that most people don't know, most people that follow us don't know, but that's 12 of the units there with Lillian that we're going to be activated on very shortly. And then we also have a property down on Toronto Street that we're doing major renovations to the property to have 3 units there, and those units will be an extension of our United House program. And I won't give you the exact address, but it is downtown Barrie, and oh boy, I'm going to hear about this later. So we're really excited about that. We're under construction there. We're doing an addition as well to build a laundry facility into the building, and a 3rd unit's going in the attic space, which is currently a roof, and that's going to get removed and a new unit put in there as well. And we're excited about that. And the other 6 units is with Northern Shield that I mentioned earlier. We're doing modular units made out of sea cans, and they're over there, and they've come quite a ways on the construction of those. I haven't been in there in the last couple of days, which I probably should have, and taken some pictures so you could see it, but it's really cool. If you ever have an opportunity to swing by one day, could probably take you on a tour over there and show you what's happening. I can't really tell you where those units are going at this point, but we are building 6 new units, and we're excited about that, and hopefully we'll be able to make an announcement sooner than later as to where they're going, so that nobody's in suspense, because eventually we got to put them in place. So even if we can't say anything yet, you'll see them going in somewhere if you're driving around town. So that's what's happening with current construction, I'm getting laughed at. I'm getting waved to say, hurry up, stop rambling. So, and one thing as well, we're really dedicated and focused right now as well on what we can do to support other agencies around the county of Simcoe. And as Rhonda mentioned earlier, we've got a pilot going with CLH up in Midland around the furniture bank, and we'll be working with them to look at some housing opportunities up there. And our focus has primarily up until now been in Barrie, but there's so much need in our community and around the county. And we do have some future projects that we're working on for up in Aurelia. And there's a contingent from Aurelia here today, so welcome. We're glad that you could make it. And we're really excited about expanding up into Aurelia and continuing to work with the community organizations up there that are already doing fabulous work and supporting the individuals in their own community. But just like everywhere else, there's a massive need up there for housing and getting new affordable and supportive housing created, and then wrapping individuals in support. And what's really awesome up in Aurelia is everybody is really focused on that and is working really closely together to see that become a reality. So one of the projects that we have on the plate, and it's going to take a while to do, but we did get approval through the CMHC for this. We are working with an organization called Raising the Roof and community builders as well, and we'll be partnering with the local agencies up in Aurelia to take the old post office. Well, it's not an old post office, it's an existing post office on Peter Street downtown, and that's being transformed into 40 new residential units. The post office is likely going to stay, or at least wants to be able to stay there as well, so there'll be the commercial space on the ground floor. And that's in the planning phases now, and that'll take a little bit of time to move that project forward, but we're really excited about being part of that. And then there's some other things that we're working on up in Aurelia as well that we're hoping to be able to make announcements about over the coming months as well. But we're really excited about moving up into Aurelia and working with the fantastic organizations that are up there doing great work. So, and then last but not least, in terms of additional projects, Lucy's Place has been a fantastic success, and you saw that in the video clip a little bit. And there's 18 units of supportive housing there, and it's an old motel that's been converted. And we have 2 applications in with the CMHC right now through the Rapid Housing Initiative. And we're very, very hopeful and feeling confident that they will be approved. And it's, again, 2 motel conversions. I can't specify where they are at the moment specifically. I can give you the general region, but... What? Well, shoot, what's the point in this community update then? Okay. It's in the county of Simcoe. I feel like I get muzzled all the time. Anyways, it's in the county of Simcoe. It's really awesome and very exciting. And if those 2 projects are successfully approved by CMHC and we move forward, it's going to be 157 new units of supportive housing for those that are most vulnerable in our communities. And so we're thrilled about that, and we're going to be more thrilled when we find out that they were successful. So applications, I mean, they will be successful projects. We just need the funding. So we're looking forward to that. And that's kind of our community updates. Just one other thing around some other things that we're working on. One of the things that we find in the work that we do is there's a lot of systemic problems that arise that really keep us from being able to do the work that we're wanting to do. And so one of the things that we are kind of known for, I guess, a little bit at Redwood is being a little bit disruptive and not just doing what we're being told to do. We kind of do things outside of the rule of law, I suppose. And we're trying to forge a new path.
Laws. Oh my goodness.
Just to clarify, no laws get broken. I'm just talking about systems get broken, okay? Systems change. Anyways, so a couple of things that we're working on is the idea, oh boy. Okay, thanks for coming to the comedy show tonight. Appreciate it. Focus. Outcomes purchasing is a financial, it's a new way of looking at funding operations of the work that we do on a daily basis. And not just us, but all organizations that are involved in community change and charitable work. And what that really means and what that looks like is that we want our organizations to be valued based on the outcomes that they achieve. And those outcomes often, economically speaking, save government millions and millions and millions of dollars in other costs that would arise if we didn't do what we were doing. Things like calls to 911 and things like ambulances showing up to deal with issues, or other emergency services like fire or police. Also things around, the visits to the emergency ward. Those are all, or at jails, spending nights in jails, et cetera, et cetera. Those are all really expensive things that cost our system a lot of money, could cost us as taxpayers and individuals and people within the community. And so what we want to do is we understand that the work that we do and the organizations in the community that provide supports to individuals that might otherwise end up in some of these emergency services or needing these emergency services, we can reduce the burden of emergency service use. And we want the governments to be able to recognize the value of that. And by doing that, that's what we're trying to do with outcomes purchasing, is valuing that and then entering into an arrangement with government where they pay us we have a contract with them where they pay us for the amount of money that we are saving them. And that money that we're paid is what we're using to provide the supports on the ground that we're providing. And so we've been working on a pilot project for the last year or so with the City of Barrie, the County of Simcoe, and working closely with a group out in Winnipeg called Encompass Co-op, and developing what that outcomes purchasing idea looks like. It's not a new idea. That model is used in other industries like the energy sector, and it's a model that I think has a lot of opportunity in the social service sector. So for the last year, we've received funding from the Ontario Children Foundation as well as the Investment Readiness Program by the federal government to actually support the development of that model. And excuse me, we're getting really close to being able to have actual contracts in place to represent that. And that is an example, once that takes place, that's an example of what a disruptive model looks like in disrupting a system that we all know doesn't work very well. Every time government changes, funding changes, and people can't do what they were doing before in terms of supports. And this is a way of being able to reduce or eliminate that issue. So we're really excited about that and what that could look like and where that can lead. And we are getting really much closer to making that a reality. So that's something that's in the works and we continue to work on. And then we're also working on a new investment model that we've also received some funding for to support a pilot for that. And it's a community investment fund that allows people within the community to make investments in the work that we're doing around infrastructure, and that infrastructure for us specifically being affordable housing and related infrastructure to that. And it gives the people and individuals in their own community the opportunity to invest in money in their own community to create safe, affordable housing with supports and see their money at work and receiving a financial return much smaller than they would receive otherwise, but they're getting a huge community return and social impact with their investment as well, which appeals to a lot of different investors. So that is also in the works and being worked on, and I can talk about those. And then another model that we do work with regularly is the idea of social enterprise. And for those of you who don't know what a social enterprise is, basically it is an organization that takes regular market business tools and employs them in the social world to get community benefit and social return on the work that they are doing. And that's what a social enterprise is. So something like running a cafe, for example, would be an example of a social enterprise where you are operating a cafe, you're doing some employment training, you're providing meals for individuals that may need them, that are vulnerable, and there's a financial model to that where it generates its own revenue to support the social benefits and outcomes work that is happening. And we're really big on the idea of social enterprise and working with social enterprise, and that's what our furniture bank actually is a social enterprise. So those are the kind of the financial type tools or models that are more disruptive to the system that we employ and that we're working on and that are currently in the works. So, look at that, Q&A. So now it's time for questions and answers. And so if you have questions or answers, please let us know.
Would be very happy to hear them. Miss Jennifer put up the last picture. We were teasing, is it possible to go back? I don't know. We were teasing that this is kind of us because on the surface, this looks very calm, but underneath the water, there's a whole lot of this happening, and it's kind of like Redwood right now. We can't tell you about some of the things, but there is lots and lots and lots going on under the surface here, so that's why Miss Jennifer chose that great picture. And if you know why she calls you Miss Jennifer, we would also say that.
So does anybody have any questions? There's a couple other things that we're still going to do as well, but if there's some questions, please feel free to, don't be shy. It's a small group. Shout it out.
Can't be any worse than what happened up here. When we're done these things, I always say to Jeanette, "You're welcome," or "I'm sorry," whichever is more applicable.
You're welcome is really great.
Oh dear. Oh, no question. We must have been very, very clear about everything. Fantastic. Oh my goodness.
Well, they're over
Okay. Where? I need a hook. One of those canes. Oh my gosh. Okay, what's next?
Well, I have on my agenda here. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Rhonda, do you want to take that?
Well, volunteers have always been at the core of how we've done our work. For the first many, many years, all of our Redwood staff were volunteer. And we have been able to keep operating through the pandemic, being that we were essential and continue to offer our supports and services. We've had to scale back a little bit on our volunteers throughout COVID, but we are able to do quite a bit more with volunteers. So we actually hired a volunteer coordinator to coordinate our volunteers. And we worked with Georgian College to find the best platform for volunteer management. They did the business students at Georgian did a whole project for us. So we used Tandem Park to coordinate our volunteers, and that's how we put our volunteer opportunities forward. Sometimes they come through our updates or our website, but we have all our volunteers connect through Tandem Park, and then that's a great way for us to collect up all the information that we need from you about what we usually start by saying, what do you like to do? And then we take your skills and figure out where they fit in with what we're doing. So the first step would be if you are looking to connect as a volunteer, there's any number of ways that, that you could do that. We usually encourage people to email volunteer@redwoodparkcommunities.com. Oh my goodness, our email addresses are so long too. Wait till you type that in. Volunteer@redwoodparkcommunities.com, and then Tanya will help get you connected. And then we usually sit down and have a virtual chat these days, or a nice outdoor chat, and talk about what it is that you might like to do and how that might connect with the work that we're doing. And then we use volunteers in very specific roles, lots of driving to food bank, and there's lots of practical ways, but often we find that there's things that we haven't even thought of, and then we create spaces for lives to intersect. So we have, if you are interested in doing work with our families, then we usually create spaces where people can connect and they can share the needs that they have, and you can share the skills that you have. Chances are you've got a skill or an opportunity that somebody could really use. So yeah, we usually just start with an email to volunteer at, and then we'll figure it out from there. And a huge part of what we do is only possible because of having volunteers. So please feel free to reach out. We would love to have you.
Yeah, I can just add one thing to that too. We've been a little bit quieter than normal on the volunteer front, just because of the situation of the pandemic that everybody is aware of. But we are looking forward to being able to get more and more volunteers involved as we move forward. And there will be opportunities for volunteering in the construction world too on some of the things that we're doing. We'll have some different work days and stuff like that that people will be able to volunteer for as well. Mm-hmm. Did I say anything I shouldn't?
Oh my goodness.
Any other questions? Okay. One thing that I didn't mention that I should mention is we have a new website. So I don't know if anybody has seen that yet. It is live now, right? Okay. Another thing I'm not supposed to be talking about. Okay.
Hi, I was in charge of the website, and I was like, let's launch it like at the same time as our meeting. And Marissa tried to talk me out of that, and she was like, no, I think we should launch it the week before. And I was like, no, let's do it all at the same time. And then yesterday, they hit a snag, something about Cloudflare, and I don't know what that is, but we've hit a snag, so it'll go live probably tomorrow or maybe the next day. But it is lovely, and the URL is the same. So if you go to that URL, you'll still see a website. We have a website right now, and you can still sign up as a volunteer, or sign up for the newsletters, or learn about our projects. But the new site will be ready sometime this week. Thanks.
Okay, and that's all. Thanks for coming. Good night. Another thing.
Oh, poor Nathan is dying.
We have a number of people that have expressed interest in being on the board with Redwood. And as you can imagine, because of the new projects that we have coming up and all of the things that we are working on, we're looking to expand our board, and we are building different capacities and structures within the organization as well to accommodate the growth as it comes. An important part of that is having a really solid board. And so some of you have expressed interest in being on the board, and maybe some individuals that are watching out there in the interweb world might be interested as well. And what we're going to do for the next half hour or so is just mill around. Anybody who might be interested in learning more about being on the board or what it means, we just wanted to create some space to allow you to connect with a couple of our board members and chat with them about that and what it may look like, and just to kind of get to know each other a little bit as well. And so we're going to do that. For anyone who might be interested in that. Nathan back there, if you can raise your hand, and Amanda, if you can raise yours, are our two board members that are here, and they'd be happy to get to know you a little bit and talk to you about the opportunity of being on the board. Okay? And I think that's it. Is anybody making a closing remark, Jennifer, or is just me? All right.
Oh boy.
Thanks for coming.